Well, you talk about falling from grace, so we should talk about Sarah Ferguson. She's going to have to find her own home after she and Andrew were told to leave the Royal Lodge. Where does she sit in all of this, and what's her future look like?
Well, you look at what has actually happened here, and I think the level of public revulsion over the last few days and weeks has reached fever pitch, because certainly that Andrew thought that he was completely shielded from that. He thought that the King would protect him. And of course, I think whilst the King and the Queen have of course said that their sympathies lie with the victims and survivors of sexual abuse, that this was the King's brother, and he felt there was a duty of care towards him. He felt as though he needed to protect him. But then reports of Fergie certainly asking for somewhere else to live after she was stripped of her Duchess of York title. The public were not certainly happy with that. There was certainly calls for her to stand on her own 2 feet. Why on earth was she still living in a royal residence, even though she's been divorced from Andrew for 30-odd years? So, Fergie has a very successful career on the back of her publishing life. And she will have to stand on her own 2 feet now. There is absolutely no reason why she should be afforded anything for the royal family. And I think that you look at her career and it's certainly be in tatters now because of her own relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, look, it just stretches far and wide. It's an absolute mess, Russell. And look, I still quite can't believe this, but Andrew is still in line for succession. I mean, surely that has to be looked at now.
Well, it keeps on coming, doesn't it? First of all, we had Andrew stepping away from his Duke of York title. The announcement that he was going to relinquish all these titles didn't go far enough at all. That led to the King being heckled in public. And that really was the line that had been crossed, I think. Certainly people at the palace were very shaken at that. They thought that if this was to continue, where was the limit? You know, we have Remembrance Sunday coming up. Could there be a situation where the King was going to be heckled at Sandringham alongside other members of the royal family? It wasn't enough that the action that he'd been taking, saying that Andrew couldn't come to spend Christmas with the rest of the royal family. It wasn't enough that stripping him of his Duke of York title. People wanted action. And I think that when you look at where Andrew sits in the line of succession, of course, yes, it's very, very unlikely that he would ever be in a position to take the throne. But I don't think people have had enough say in this. And the King had certainly listened to them when he was being heckled in public. So perhaps this is the next step that the King will have to look at. He's certainly taken steps when the public have called for it, and perhaps this will be another one.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch as things unfold over the coming weeks and months. Russell Myers, really appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much.